It all started quietly, no press conference, no red carpet, no final farewell at the airport. Just one man, a suitcase, and a heavy silence that said more than any interview ever could. When the news broke that Yaman had left Turkey for good, fans across the world couldn't believe it. Was it just another rumor, or had one of Turkey's brightest stars really walked away from everything, his home, his fame, and the woman he once called the love of his life? For years, Yaman had been the face of Turkish television. His smile, his charisma, his intensity, everything about him captured millions of hearts. But behind the cameras, behind the carefully crafted image, there was a man growing tired of a life constantly under the spotlight. Friends say he had been planning his departure for months. But what no one knew was that before he left, he made one final visit to her. She was the woman who had changed everything. The one who made him believe in love, and later, the one who made him doubt it. They hadn't spoken in years, not really. A few polite messages, a couple of accidental encounters on sets and events, but never a real conversation. Until that night. He showed up at her door unannounced. The same way he used to, back when everything between them was effortless. The same deep eyes, but now filled with a quiet sadness. She opened the door and froze. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. No words, no explanations. Just two people who had once loved each other, standing in the same space again. Then, finally, he spoke. His voice was low, calm, but filled with something that felt final. "I just came to say goodbye," he said. She looked at him, confused. "Goodbye? You're leaving for a while?" He shook his head. "No. For good." At first, she thought he was joking. He always had a dramatic side. But when she saw the suitcase behind him, the truth hit her like a storm. He really meant it. He was leaving not just her, but Turkey, the industry, everything. "I told myself I wouldn't come," he admitted. "But I couldn't leave without seeing you one last time." There was a long pause. She tried to find the right words, but nothing came. He smiled faintly, as if trying to make it easier for her. Then he added the words that would echo in her mind for years. "Don't wait for me. I'm not coming back." And with that, he turned away. No dramatic music, no tears. Just the soft sound of his footsteps fading into the night. She stood there, unable to move, realizing that this time, it wasn't a script. It was real. The next morning, the news spread like wildfire: Yaman leaves Turkey. It wasn't a rumor anymore. Fans saw the photos of him at the airport, dressed in black, walking through the gates with headphones on, ignoring the flashes and microphones, trying to catch one last comment. He didn't look angry. He didn't look proud. He just looked done. Those who knew him well said it wasn't a sudden decision. The pressure had been building for years, endless tabloid stories, fake headlines, people twisting his every word. He had reached a point where even success felt empty. The same man who once dominated every screen now wanted something simpler: peace. But the hardest part wasn't leaving fame. It was leaving her. The night before, after that final goodbye, she couldn't sleep. Every sound reminded her of him: the faint hum of the city, the way the rain hit the window, even the scent of the coffee they used to share in the mornings. She thought of calling him, but she didn't. He had made his choice, and she didn't want to be the reason he stayed or the reason he regretted leaving. Meanwhile, Can's plane took off into the early dawn. As he looked out the window, the city lights of Istanbul faded behind him, and for the first time in years, he felt both free and lost at the same time. He had always been strong, proud, even defiant, but this time there was no script, no director. Just silence. He thought of all the memories he was leaving behind, the film sets that turned into homes, the laughter shared with friends, the moments that defined his rise to fame. But above all, he thought of her. He could still see her standing at the door, frozen, unable to say anything as he walked away. That image would haunt him more than any heartbreak. "I'll never return," he had said, and even now, as the words echoed in his mind, a small part of him wondered if he had gone too far. But he knew that staying would have destroyed him. Turkey was where he became a star, but it was also where he lost himself. By the time the plane landed in Rome, the sun was shining. Italy had always been kind to him. The people, the culture, the language, it all felt like a second home. He stepped out of the airport, took a deep breath, and whispered quietly to himself, "From now on, I start over." But somewhere deep down, he knew that starting over wouldn't be easy. You can leave a country, you can leave fame, but you can't leave the memories, or the love that once defined you. In the weeks that followed, the world couldn't stop talking about it. Magazines called it the Great Escape of Yaman. Social media was flooded with pictures, speculations, and emotional posts from fans who felt like they had lost something too. Every headline tried to explain it: burnout, heartbreak, media pressure, but no one really knew the full truth. In Rome, Ken tried to disappear into normal life. He walked the narrow streets near Piazza Navona, ordered his espresso like any other local, smiled at people who didn't recognize him. For the first time in years, he wasn't being followed by cameras or whispers. It felt strange, almost unreal. Freedom, he realized, wasn't loud. It was quiet, sometimes too quiet. He rented a small apartment overlooking the Tiber River, away from the city center. No luxury, no entourage, just peace. But peace can be a dangerous thing when your mind is still full of ghosts. Every night, he would sit on the balcony, watching the lights reflect on the water, and think about everything he had left behind, not the fame, not the fortune, but her. He remembered her laughter, the way she used to call him by his full name when she was angry, the way her eyes softened when he made her laugh. They had lived through moments that no one else could understand. It was a connection born on screen but survived long after the camera stopped rolling. That was what made it so hard. Sometimes he wondered if she was watching his interviews, the reruns of their old series, or the new projects he was planning in Europe. Did she ever think about that night? About what he said? "Don't wait for me. I'm not coming back." In Turkey, she was trying to move on too. But every time his name came up, on TV, on social media, in conversations with friends, she felt that familiar ache. The kind that comes when you lose something that never really belonged to you, yet felt like it did. She once told a friend, "People think I was sad because he left the country. But what they don't know is, he left long before that." Her voice broke a little as she said it. Meanwhile, Ken threw himself into work. He met with Italian producers, trained harder than ever, and started shaping a new career in Europe. On the surface, he seemed unstoppable again, the same confident, charming star everyone admired. But behind the smile, there was still that quiet promise echoing in his chest: never return. It wasn't just about leaving Turkey. It was about closing a chapter of his life, one filled with love, pain, and too many memories to count. But some chapters, no matter how hard you try to end them, have a way of writing themselves again. Months passed, but the shadow of that final goodbye never really left him. Italy embraced him with open arms. Fans waited for him outside studios, brands chased him with offers, and journalists wrote about his rebirth. Yet behind the perfect photos and charming interviews, there was still something missing. Every success felt incomplete, like applause echoing in an empty theater. One night, after a long day on set, he returned home, exhausted. The lights of Rome shimmered through the window, and on the table, his phone buzzed with unread messages. But his eyes stopped at one notification, a memory post, an old photo of him and her from the series that started it all. Someone had written, "The chemistry that will never be repeated." He stared at the screen for a long time. The memories flooded back, the laughter between takes, the way she'd glance at him when the director shouted cut, the nights they'd stay late just talking about life, dreams, and what they wanted beyond fame. It was in those moments, he realized, that he'd been truly happy. And now, they were just pixels on a screen. He didn't reply to any messages that night. Instead, he went out to the balcony, feeling the cool air of Rome against his face. Somewhere out there, she was probably asleep, or maybe awake, thinking of him too. He didn't know. What he did know was that some connections never fade. They just transform. In interviews, when journalists asked if he missed Turkey, he would smile politely and say, "Turkey will always be part of me." But what he never said out loud was that she was the reason he couldn't return. Because returning would mean reopening every wound, every memory, every look that still haunted him. He kept his word, "I'll never return," not out of pride, but out of self-preservation. Back in Istanbul, she was moving on with her life, working on new projects, traveling, smiling for the cameras. But sometimes, when no one was watching, she'd find herself replaying that night, the way his eyes looked when he said goodbye, the tremor in his voice, the stillness of the moment. She never told anyone, but in her heart, she knew, that was the night he stopped belonging to Turkey, and to her. Years later, when Kim received a prestigious award in Europe, he mentioned his homeland for the first time in a long while. Standing on stage, holding the trophy, he said softly, "No matter where life takes us, we never truly leave where we come from. We just learn to carry it differently." It wasn't just a speech, it was a confession. That night, as the applause filled the room, a tear escaped his eye. Not because of the award, but because in that moment, he finally understood something. You can leave your country, you can leave your fame, even your love, but you can never truly leave your heart behind. And so, the man who once said, "I'll never return," didn't come back to Turkey physically, but in the hearts of those who loved him, he never really left.